Hey, salon owners, if you are looking to increase your salon profit, which hopefully you are, then two are the biggest bills that you'll need to control. We've been coaching salons now for over 8 years, and we get to look behind the scenes and get to see a lot of their figures and numbers of a lot of the biggest salons in the UK and Australia and what they're actually doing. And what is apparent is that the two biggest reasons that they're not getting to pay themselves or earning enough profit is actually their stock spend and their wage spend. And I want to share with you today, hopefully, the difference between what we're seeing and what we're doing with our clients. And hopefully that way you can look at your own business and look at your own numbers and see if you can actually get more profit. The key to more profit, of course, is not necessarily having more clients or doing more upsells or selling more retail. It's looking at your outgoings. It's looking at, like most salons we see, the amount of money that comes into the till, they are earning enough money to make themselves or pay themselves enough money for themselves. And we call that profit. So let me share my screen and share with hopefully an idea of what I feel that could be happening with salons. And I hopefully will share you a couple of stories that sit around this. So let me see if I can just share my screen. Here we go. Great. So one thing that we see is most salons that we get to look after is, by the way, we've just changed the percentage into coins. So if you imagine, $100 or £100 that goes into your salon, that equals 100%. So what most salon owners that we get to see, they spend about 15 coins, $15, 15 pounds, 15% of their total spend that goes in their salon, they spend on stock. We see some people up to 20 and 25% on stock. Now, we see they spend half their money that comes in, 50 coins, on wages. And we've seen some over the 60 mark. Now, the rest of the bills, the rent and all your bills that go out, your car, your phone, your electricity, your telephone, rent and rates, do tend to come to about 30% of the business, about £30 in the £100. And you're left with 5. So it's very, very hard for a salon that actually has this structure to make any money. And here's an example. If your salon is running with these sort of numbers, so go and check how much you spend on your bills and what percentage of bills is compared to take-ins. And by the way, if you don't know, please hit me up. If your stock is sitting around 15% or 15, coins out of 100 coins, and your wages are sitting around that 50 mark, 50 coins out of 100 coins, there's a good chance that you've only got 5 left. So that means for every $100 or £100 that goes into your salon, you get to keep as your wage or profit 5. Now, if that's the case, I want you to picture a salon that's doing $1 million, which is quite hard to do, 40,000 a week, 1 million turnover, you're only left with 50,000. So if you want to pay yourself in Australia, especially if you want to pay yourself at least 100,000, and you should be paying yourself a lot more than that, you're going to do 2 million turnover, 80,000 a week to get yourself 100,000. And I think that's ridiculous. So it's very, very hard. Well, the average salon in Australia is doing about $500,000, which means you're paying yourself about $25,000. Or if you're in the UK and your business is doing about 250 to 300,000, you're paying yourself something as little as £12,000. And that's because no matter how busy your salon gets, no matter how many staff you get, the structure behind the scenes isn't working. We've been a numbers salon coach for a long time. We specialize in behind the scenes numbers. Now, what your business should look like is you should be sending about 10%, about £10 in the £100 or $10 in the $100 on stock. That is total stock. That includes all your back bar, all your colors, all your retail. We should be sitting around 10%. Your bills at 22 and your rent at 8, we haven't changed them. They're always going to be around that figure. But if you can get your wage to 35%, we coach our salons to get down to 30. So between 30 and 40 is a really great place to be. So 35 is ideal. And now that means you've got left with 25 coins out of 100, 25%. So that means for every £100 or $100 that goes into your till, you're left with 25. And the significant difference between the previous salon that we showed you and this particular salon is massive. So for example, if your business was doing $1 million turnover, as opposed to paying yourself 50,000, you're now paying yourself 250,000. So if you can get your salon to $500,000, then you'd pay yourself 125. And that's really, really doable. It's very easy to get your salon in Australia to about $500,000, and you can pay yourself $125,000, which I think is not a bad wage. And here in the UK, if you can get your business to half of that amount, for example, if you can get it to 250,000 with this structure, you should be paying yourself ideally sitting around that £75,000 mark. And again, I think that is a really good income. So the reality is takings haven't changed, but the structure of the business is. Now, here's an example. We look after many salons. We look after salons that do around 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, $500,000, and up to 3.5 million. So we do an awful lot of salons that are small and big. We do single salons and group salons. We recently looked after a particular salon, and their turnover was quite good. It was 1.4 million, so it's not a bad size salon. And we decided to look at their structure, and their structure was a little bit more like this particular salon. And we went, okay, no matter how much you earn, your bills, their stock was at like 20%, and their wage bill was at 55%, and they had nothing. They were turning over that much money, they had nothing. So we said, okay, let's dive into their back end. Before we start working on getting new clients, before we start working with your team to get the average bill up, let's just look at the structure. Let's try and figure out, how do we get that stock spend down to a reasonable amount? How do we get that wage down? Now, we didn't go crazy. We just lowered the stock from 20 to 15, so a bit more than what we recommend. And the wage bill we just brought down to 45. But that means we've literally saved that business 10%. Now, if you're any good at maths, 10% of 1.4 million is £140,000. So literally, by working with us within 1 week, we set up a structure to save them £140,000. Now, that is some going. Now, for the normal salon out there, to take your salon from this, which hopefully you're not, but most salons are, and we want to take them to some sort of structure. Again, like we said, we are the salon owner numbers bods. We are well known for that, and looking into your numbers and doing coaching with your numbers. To get your salon to this particular level, what we would do is go, okay, we can't just cut your stock or cut your wages, because we don't want to lose staff members. So we start working with you on how to increase that takings, how to increase that average bill, how to get your clients to return sooner. And with that, naturally, your takings rise a little bit. And that means your stock spend and your wage percent decrease to a level where there is a big chunk of profit at the end. Now, you get the choice at the end whether you want to pay yourself the profit, you want to reinvest it into something else, reinvest it back into the business, reinvest it back into your workforce. But the problem we see with most salon owners is they are in a state where there's not a lot of money left over. Now, I don't know about you, but one thing that I do know is there's an awful lot of salon owners, no matter how hard you work, no matter how busy your salon is, no matter how many times you get new clients in the door, if you don't have the right structure behind the scenes, you'll never make profit, and you'll always struggle. Like I said about the salon that was doing 1.4 million, still making no money. You have to get hold of these numbers. And we're finding a lot of salon owners don't like numbers, don't want to do numbers. And that's why when we coach them, we take that off there and we actually work with them to make sure it's as easy as what's shown you today. Guys, I hope you liked the training. Hope you got a lot out of this. If you're interested or you're worried about your profit and you want to give us just comment below, DM me, email me, reach out as best you possibly can, and let's look at your numbers and see if we can turn your business into somewhere where there's not much profit into somewhere where profit is of abundance. Have a great day.